Hey everyone, this is going to be an exciting video. I'm starting on the exhaust on the CX. So you can see I've laid out some pipes already. I've got it looking just how I want it. And I've also bought another tool. So I've got a miter bandsaw. So I'm going to do an unboxing on this as well, which you'll see, and then you'll get my initial reactions on it. But it's a pretty awesome product so far. But yeah, in this video, like I said, you're going to see the exhaust, my process for making it, some of the components that I use, and yeah, hope you learn something, but I hope you enjoy it, so stick around. Components that I'm going to use here. So to start off, we will just mention the components. Now, I use Cone Engineering a lot. They build a lot of high quality stuff, and all of this tubing came from Cone Engineering except for a couple bits here, which I'll explain. Now, I use a 1.5 inch primary on this bike, and then I step it on this bike to a 1.875 after the merge. So a 2-in-1 typically can make a little bit more power. So they provide a number of different merges, and like anything to your heart's desire here. So you can spec these from them, get the diameters you want. They're really affordably priced. And beyond that, you know, I've just got some miscellaneous tubing here. Different bends. This is all stainless, and then, you know, of course, for your muffler you got a couple springs and spring clips that you got to weld to the pipes. Now, to get this onto the bike, you got to start at the head. So these are the factory clamps that I actually had machined down just to give a flat surface, and then I'm going to clean them up a little bit further, maybe make a cool design, and maybe polish them or have them powder coated or something. But the important piece are these collars that I have made. So these are used to utilize the factory clamps, so you don't have to, you know, buy some. You can save a little bit of money. So these are a 1.5 inch ID here. So your pipe slips into this, and then this fits over that like factory. Okay, and then this will fit on the bike. Like so. They look really clean and they fit like factory. So obviously this piece is going to be on the bike or on the pipes permanently, so you're going to have to remember to take care of your clamps beforehand. Now, as far as the routing on the bike, what I want to do is a 2-in-1 under the bike, and then over onto the right side of the bike I want to an exit with a Competition Works muffler, which we're waiting on right now. Now, the biggest concern I'm having is the ground clearance on this bike. Now, the GL650 engine has a lower sump on it, so I don't want to kill the ground clearance I have, but I might be able to get away with having a pipe underneath and then two pipes ran really close to each other in the center. But I'm also thinking about running them up about right here and tying into this mounting tab or this mounting boss on the engine. Another thing I'm trying to consider is I want to actually build like a fiberglass belly pan for this bike. So I've never done something like that. I'd really like to. And if I put the pipes up here, I feel like I might have less room. You know, it might make that piece wider than it really has to be. So it's another reason I'm leaning to the just straight down below position here. Another reason, you got to think about servicing this. Your drain plug's right here. If I put the pipe like that, you know, it might be too close, might make it hard to get the drain plug out, and it might make a mess. So just all kinds of concerns. But I'm excited to get to work on this finally. Now, wherever the exhaust comes down, whether it be on the side or underneath, it's going to have a 2-in-1 merge about right here, and then I'm going to kick the muffler up just about right here. I think it's going to look really awesome. And I'm hoping it makes some power too. But first order of business for me, clean up these clamps. So I'm going to start working on that now. So I went ahead and I made a purchase here, and this is just solely to help with the exhaust fabrication that I'm going to do for the CX. Normally, I've only ever actually used a cutoff wheel on an angle grinder and a flap disc combination. And it works. I get there, but you know, the cleanup and then like getting to your exact cut and making the precision fit, it just takes a long time. It's noisy. There's a lot of sparks. There's a lot of dust. It's just, it is what it is. That's what you expect with it, but there is a lot of mess associated with it and a lot of extra time. So I went ahead and I bought a miter bandsaw. So this is some Klutch from Northern Tool Supply. I'm getting ready to unbox this thing. Now what this allows is a more precise cut, less cleanup, and then I get to actually clamp the work in here and keep it steady. So I'm hoping that this the stock blade is going to work okay. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of it, but I do plan on investing in maybe a couple nicer blades that'll work with stainless steel. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox this thing, get it set up, and do a couple test cuts. We'll see how it goes. Alright, looks pretty good. I like the handle on here. Trigger finger. So this is actually variable speed, so that should come in handy with cutting different types of material. But it comes up. Cool. Alright, I'm going to throw a piece of scrap tube in here. Let's see how it cuts. Almost no burrs on that. So another cool feature of this thing that I really like is that you can rotate the head instead of the workpiece. So anyway, one-handed, you can actually rotate this a lot. And I know on that one I should have went ahead and moved my guard or my guide forward and closed that distance there for stability, but I don't know. I think we're going to keep playing around with it, and I think this thing's going to work great. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking for the exhaust. I'd like to follow this line in a straight fashion, 90-degree down. Match the other side, so I have to take off a little bit of material here, I'll explain that. And then I'm probably going to 45 it or so, whatever this angle is. I'll 45 it down and then 90 it straight under the oil pan. I did decide to go under the, 2 pipes under the pan. I think we'll have plenty of clearance for the life this bike is going to live. And then I'll put my merge probably about right here. I'm going to measure the header length and then figure out if it can be sooner or if it needs to be later. There's a calculator to figure out how long your primary length needs to be before merge, for the best power. So I just want to make sure I do it right. But right now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut 3/4 of an inch off of this. The reason for that being, I want it to match that pipe front to back, and the cylinders, this is normal, the cylinders are offset, so the right cylinder is further back 3/4 of an inch. I did that by just measuring from the carburetor mounting surface here to the back of the head. So that's going to give me the dimension here. So I need to trim this one off by 3/4 of an inch, and then that's going to hopefully put that at the exact same line. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to go ahead and try the bandsaw with stainless. So should be able to clamp that thing in there and take off 3/4 of an inch. Alright, first little issue here on the first cut. Because this is a tight radius here, I can't actually lock this jaw all the way up against that pipe, so I just spaced it out with a piece of 1-inch block of wood that I have. And as I hang on, as I bring that down, it'll clear. So, and we're going to cut it slow. We're not going to put a whole lot of force behind it, so we shouldn't have a problem with it trying to move around. But now I'm able to get 3/4 of an inch out of that. Just like that. Didn't pull on the work at all. It was very steady, and that was just, I'm just doing light pressure all the way down. I don't want to force anything, but there's not even hardly anything on the inside of that, and it looks super square. So far so good. So on these flanges, I have to open them up just a little bit with some with a flap disc and abrasive disc, and it's a tight fit on these pipes, but you open them up, adjust them a little bit, and you don't want them to be loose, obviously, but just tap them on. And I'm leaving just a little bit, just recess just a little bit. And then from there, whenever it comes time to actually finish the exhaust, I just fuse weld the inside of this, and that makes it one piece and sealed up. Now, fit it on the bike. It's a little hard to see, I'm sure, with the light like that, but you get the idea. Take your clamp, They're even. So it turns out I can't actually fit this thing in the bandsaw to cut it in half. In any angle I do it, it always interferes. So I'm gonna have to manually cut this one with the angle grinder, but I need to find the center. So here's maybe a little trick. Alright, so it's 6.5 inches outside to outside. So 3 1/4 would be our center. So butt it up against something square. A little hard to see here. Move this a little closer. So square it up. Mark 3 1/4. So there's your center. And then from here, assuming you bought a quality piece that's got equal length legs, put a square up there. Then you have your center, and you have a straight line. So it's not going to be, it's never going to be perfect. You're going to have to eyeball it, but that at least get you close. Okay, so I've had some time to play with the bandsaw here, and here's kind of just some things I've noticed. Out of the box, I mean, not really a surprise. This thing's not exactly dialed in on the angles. So if you can see here, there's an eccentric mounted on a screw, and you can use, that's a stopper, so you can loosen that, rotate it, and then whenever your blade gets to 45, you can kind of dial it into that. It was a little bit too far. Same thing on this side for your 90. So I've had to adjust those a little bit, and I've just been playing around with different cuts and trying to figure out how to cut something that's already bent. So this is about the extent of what I've made. Nothing too serious, but it took a lot of measuring and whatnot to kind of get it right. So this started out as a 45 section like that, and right here this is not quite at 45 degrees, so I need something that's less than 45 to put a straight down fitting on there. And as of now, this is kind of like, this is eyeballing, I'm using the micrometer, and so I'm trying to keep everything as square as I can, with a mixture of just measuring on the bandsaw as much as I can, and then I have my super uber crappy Harbor Freight belt sander. Don't buy one of those things. But right now though, I want to go ahead and I want to get the second piece made. I want to duplicate this exactly, and I've got my my bandsaw set at my angle that I need to cut this angle with. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this piece on the short side where I have to cut from here. I left 1 inch after the bend, and then I'll mark this side, and I'll get it cut out. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that now, and then I'll start mocking things up on the bike. So I have my angle on this section. It's gonna be on the cutting long section out of this. This is my piece I'm gonna keep. So I have this set at about 11 degrees or so per the manually stuck on sticker here, which is not accurate. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this section out because I already had this angle set from testing the last piece. So this is the critical dimension that I need to match. So I'm going to keep this angle here, cut that out, and then I'll flip it around, and then I'll cut basically just a 90 off of here, square it off, leaving an inch after the curve to get material away. So. good. I'm just gonna run this through the belt sander real quick. Get some glasses on here. I want to show you guys how you do the adjustments on the angle and whatnot in here. Loosen my piece real quick. This is on a spring. You can just lift it up, get where it locks, crack it loose, and then like I mentioned, that's your stop right there. So if you get that set up right, you're going to be at 90 degrees. Go ahead and lock it down and kind of swing that out of the way so your work doesn't hit it. Now I'll go ahead and get this in here. Doesn't really matter on this cut since I'm just cutting square where this is angled. Just snugging that down, lining everything up. That should be good. Alright, forgive the exhaust fan up there. It's getting a little hot in here. Anyway, I'm getting ready to actually get out the welder and start to actually tack some pieces in place. So what I've done, I have already shown you, I've trimmed this pipe 3/4 of an inch back because of the offset of the cylinders. That way we have an even and flat surface in the front. Now, the next thing I did is I took a level and I've leveled the bike on the stand. As long as you don't touch it, it's fine. But I did the level to the radiator mount, so it's centered there and it's level, and I'm going to use that to base my level measurements off of. And then from there, I hope I didn't go wrong with this, but the end of the pipe, I figure since I left this end uncut on both sides, I went ahead and I did the level on the bottom here. And I did that to try to make the angle of each pipe perfect. So I can eyeball it all day long, and I think that's the best measurement I can get right now without an actual like digital or weighted angle finder. So I think I'm just gonna go for it, or you know, just gonna send it, as they say. But I like the gap I have here on both sides. I like the gap I have between the clutch basket and the exhaust. So now it's time to start tacking these in place. And I can clock these so they're vertical at the front of the engine, because after these two pieces I'm going to use a 90 degree with a 1-inch spacer here. So, and that's going to lie under the bike like that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the welder out, start getting this thing set up. I've already sanded the outside, inside, and inside of the pipes, and then I've acetoned them so they're really clean. I'm going to acetone them again before I even try to tack them. That way I get all my fingerprints off of them. That way I don't burn fingerprints into the stainless, which would really suck. And I'll probably end up putting on some gloves. So I'm going to go get started with that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have never actually TIG welded stainless before, so this is my first time. And the time to practice, or the time to learn how to do stainless, is not on a bike, not on the finished product. So I'm just playing around with some scrap here, practicing tack methods and whatnot, and just laying beads, figuring out my amperage. So far, like 52 amps on this thing with a what do I got here? ER309 welding rod or filler rod. So I think the method I'm going to go ahead and do, instead of just trying to tack or to fuse tack, I do need to add some filler rod on a quick dab. So to do that, I'm going to end up having to tape each joint and then just get comfortable and then just quick dab tack. That way it doesn't undercut. Lot better end product. So I'm going to practice a little bit more on this, and then I'm going to go ahead and start tacking up those initial pieces on the bike. Alright, here's where we are at. I've got my two first bends tacked in place, and then now I'm going to start working into that 90-degree transition. And then this actually just ends up being exactly 1 inch. I just got lucky there. So I'm going to go ahead, move over to the saw, cut a couple 1 inch pieces, and then I'm going to get those tacked in and then get these tacked onto those. So here I go. Alright, so I have the primaries laid out. They go in, they go down, they go back, and then I went ahead and I tossed some merge on here. It's just taped on right now, just kind of an idea for placement. But there wasn't much welding footage, because I've come to realize that I can't have the camera rolling while I'm welding because I just start making mistakes. So you don't get welding footage until I get better, that is. But anyway, I just kind of, I was just tacking stuff up on here, and I put a little tiny hole in one spot, so that wasn't cool. Then I also shocked myself, but that's what you get. Call me an amateur, call me what you will, but I'm out here doing it. So anyway, this is gonna look really good. It's gonna be really compact in here, and I like the clearance I have. I'm probably gonna go ahead and wheel this thing outside at some point today, and just look at it on the ground and make sure I'm heading in the right direction. But so far, I really dig it, and I think it's gonna be awesome. So you can probably see better now. I got this backlit the wrong way. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So I'll tune back in. This is gonna be like probably a 2-part series for the exhaust, because right now I'm waiting on parts. I'm waiting on the muffler specifically. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably end the video off here, and then you'll see another one hopefully next week, if not maybe the week after, but we'll figure it out. But like I said, I'm just kind of waiting on parts now. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll try to put in as many links as I can to where I got products and what I think of them and stuff. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.